your Beirut. She wildin' off a lick a shot of that Grey Goose. Don't care for Montclair's, lick a shot at your Grey Goose. The illest, the illustrated. The realest of skills debated. Still ain't hated like fuck your lyricism. 1040 below's constructive criticism. Goldo, Joel, those slow gats blow. Oh well, getting that cake, cash and love. Gotta go to the scale on the plate, master gloves. I ain't go to Modell's. Fiends inhale stuff real well. Fall was working with Lil Puffs like Andre Harrell. This is for my hood niggas waiting on the cell. All my niggas up north with they weight up in the cell. I'm gone.
10-9-8-7-6-5-4 3-2 murder, one lyric at your door.
Let one of these niggas zack up and I'm a
Murder one.
I wish a nigga would jump so I could
Murder one. 10-9-8-7-6-5-4 3-2 murder, one lyric at your door.
Let one of these niggas act up so I could
Murder one.
I wish a nigga would jump and I'm a
Murder one.
Wait up, though. Was on that corner on the crate before the wake up show. 32 back, only cooked 28 up, though. I ain't just blow straight up. I had straight up blow. Technos and JoJo's, no Jacob glow. Bright goals and fofos, lift your face up, bro. I can tell the kind of stories you can't make up, though. Being myself allow me to fuck the makeup hoe. You can have this bitch back, I ain't gonna take your hoe. Just know if the pussy good, that we gon' break up slow. I write hits and buy kicks. Fly shit, and I ain't never been inside Kiff. I might be tripping, but I feel like these niggas forgot. Let me remind them like rewinding a Kennedy shot. I'm still Muhammad with the word vomit. This cash is heavy as clay in my jean pocket.
10-9-8-7-6-5-4 3-2 murder, one lyric at your door.
Let one of these niggas zack up and I'm a
Murder one.
I wish a nigga would jump so I could
Murder one. 10-9-8-7-6-5-4 3-2 murder, one lyric at your door.
Let one of these niggas act up so I could
Murder one.
I wish a nigga would jump and I'm a
Murder one.
Welcome to the Broken Pistol Bucket Company Pro Wrestling Podcast, infused with hip hop. I am Wood.
Made daily with organic, farm to table, sterilized, and FDA approved broken pencil logic. You stay classy, internet. I'm Suave Burgundy.
This boy Suave always on this game.
And I do what I can just to give back to the community. It's trying times, so you need pillars of virtue. You know, you need a paragon of virtue in your circumference to help ease your, mental anguish.
You and these big words, fam, they got to stop.
I went to school.
Oh yeah,
I paid attention. I earned the right to use these words.
There's that. Big rest in peace shout out to a MC Barmageddon specialist who was taken from us far too soon. He had a 2-week battle with COVID-19 and succumbed to complications thereof. Fred the Godson, New York MC, great spitter. You just heard a record from him and Joel Ortiz. And a 10 bell salute. We never start shows with 10 bell salutes, and we just started the last 2 shows with 10 bell salutes. And
it's real. It is real.
This shit's getting ridiculous, man.
Jeez, bro.
Yeah. And today is Saturday, April the 25th, year of our Lord.
Year of our Lord.
2020. And we're getting word now, no confirmation yet, but we're getting word now that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has also succumbed to a botched open heart surgery. So we'll maybe before the end of the show, we'll have an update on that, but not to be outdone. This is a hip hop and pro wrestling show. This is about Fred the Godson. So this show is dedicated to you, Fred the Godson, for the family of Fred the Godson. Hold your head. We'll get through this. I said it before, right here on this show, Suave. I said it. We will get through this together before it became a catchphrase. And right or wrong.
These are truths. You did say that. So I can't argue with you.
Yeah. So, I say that and there we go. I say that and I mean that. And, we just got to keep doing our part to make sure we stay safe and healthy out here in this climate. That said, let's go ahead and get started with this show. We got a lot to talk about and not a lot of time to talk about it because, actually we got all the time because we ain't got shit to do and neither do you. Keep it a buck.
I ain't gonna lie, I got shit to do, but at the same time,
Speaking of, just to add an extra element of entertainment to this show, what exactly is going on right now on your side of the fence?
So over here at Political Status Headquarters, we are deeply immersed in internet culture. So currently on my plate is a NBA 2K20 Sim League Legends draft. Shout out to Dog Wonder.
Dog, what up, Los? Space Los, coast to coast.
I'm in the midst of a 16-team snake draft. Currently, we're in our third season, and we're running with college themes this season. So you get to pick a college team, an NBA team's playbook to mirror, and then you select your players. Right now, I have selected Southern Methodist University
because
SMU,
Texas.
Because Texas. So we got the SMU Mustangs Arena, so Sam Moody Coliseum. The SMU jerseys. I'm running this season because
the triple D with the horse though.
You did. But I've had not so great luck running a defensive scheme. First season I had Greg Popovich. Second season I went with Milwaukee's coach Budenholzer. So it hasn't worked out for me with the type of scores I've had. So I figured I would. And this is some inside intel that no one's supposed to know, but they won't get to hear it till after I've made my selections.
Facts.
I'm going for a more run and gun type situation. I want reckless abandon.
Wait, so who's your coach?
Mike D'Antoni. So I'm running the Rockets playbook. So we're playing.
You got the right coach for some run and gun shit popping.
Right. And we've adjusted the sliders. So if you play NBA 2K, you know about the whole sliders thing. Everything's +5. So we're at this point, it's like increased shooting, increased dunking, but increased jump shot contesting. So right now, the squad I have, I'm 3 picks in. My first pick was Kobe Bryant because I had the number 8 slot. I don't know how Kobe Bryant fell to number 8, but I got it. Second pick, Kobe Bryant. Anthony Davis. Third pick, I just took Hakeem Olajuwon.
The dream. The king, the king of the quadruple double.
Yeah, so legends are open. You can pick a guy from any era. You just can't pick him more than once. So if you pick Jordan, no one else can have
he's
any
done.
other version.
He's out, right. Okay.
It's the same way we do mixtapes here. So I'm trying to take that drafting strategy and finally win a championship on the other side. I got to the second round of the playoffs. This past season, I had Jordan, the team I had was ridiculous. As a matter of fact, let me pull up my draft board notes and give you this team, and then you'll understand why I'm upset that I didn't win a championship.
While you're pulling while you're pulling that up, let's go over some elements of the agenda real quick for this week for the show. Championships and drafts will be a very high caliber topic, during this show. As we'll be talking about the TNT tournament with AEW, we'll be talking about the WWE NXT Cruiserweight interim title tournament. We also will be talking about briefly an omission from our women's title tournament women's managers tournament that we had on our last episode of Broken Pencil Book and Company Pro Wrestling Podcast. Man, it's so glaring that it actually deserves a segment, and we're sorry. We're sorry. I've never apologized for anything on this show. I'm sorry for this one because I was just like, oh shit.
I'm not all that sorry. It's a technicality. Yeah, the way we look at things.
It's worthy of conversation. That's for sure.
It's worthy of bringing up though.
We also have to talk about Triple H 25 years in the E.
Congratulations to Triple H on 25 years of service.
And then we've got
a long way from falling in slop.
We've got some bullshit to discuss too. There's always we can't have a good show without our fair bit of bullshit. But also, 2 days ago, we had the beginnings of our very first non-crowded NFL draft, and the Blue Star Gang, our beloved Dallas Cowboys, have selected from the University of Oklahoma, CD Lamb. Welcome to the Blue Star Gang, CD Lamb.
Yeah, it is Lambo season in the city of Dallas, Texas.
We got CDs in the Lambo, fam. The graphics will be coming hard and heavy if you join the Facebook pages of myself and Suave Burgundy.
I'm just waiting on them to do the rookie shoot with the uniform, so I actually have some stuff to work with. But yeah, it's real. It's meme season.
So the hashtags: Broken Pencil Logic. You can't write this. Mark my words. Fuck Life Shorty. Fuck the Casual Fan. And that's it. You can't write this.
I was trying to remember if you said it. That should be the 6th one if you didn't say it.
Broken pencil logic. You can't write this. Mark my words. Fuck Life Shawty. Fuck the casual fan. And with the shit. We can't forget we can't forget with the shit.
Can't, because we're always with it.
All right. So what was your previous draft board looking like?
My previous team consisted of the following. I had Jordan from the 92-93 season, because you can be specific about which era of that player you want, or you can just take his all-time version. Los had all-time Jordan in the series before that, and he leans a little more on jump shots, doesn't go to the hole as much. So like there's strategy involved. I took 92-93 Jordan. He had glimpses of that Jordan that we all know and love, but then at other points during the playoffs, it was like he played like Montel Jordan. Which, I mean, nothing against Montel Jordan and his hooping ability, but it's certainly not, Michael Jordan.
We got to keep in mind
that from the Gatorade commercials.
We got to keep in mind that 92-93 Jordan was 2 years removed from the from the Dipsy Do, which was the start with the left, end with the right.
That part. So he's dunking, he's windmilling. There were a couple of games he got real disrespectful. He's doing windmill dunks mid-game. Like, it was the Jordan we know and love, but it wasn't sustained. So that was part of the problem. Then I also had David Robinson. I had Julius Erving all time. I had Dennis Rodman, John Stockton, Kevin Love, Nikola Jokic, Mark Price, and Sam Jones of Boston Celtics fame.
Nice.
I believe who else? Let's see, Jordan. Oh, Chris Bosh and Sidney Moncrief.
Sidney Moncrief, that's another great legend there.
Yeah, I had a decent mix of legends. Okay, here's what happened. The first season we played regular sliders. So it was essentially whoever had the tallest team was probably going to win. Then the second season we adjusted the slider some, and then all of a sudden guards took the game over. Now we're playing with even higher sliders, so it's like we're really playing the evolution of NBA basketball in about 3 seasons, which is literally about 3 weeks worth of streaming. So, yeah, I'm putting this team together with the thought pattern that defense doesn't matter because people are going to score no matter what.
Facts. There you go. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll keep you abreast as things develop. Hopefully, I have another pick before we finish the show today. But if not, there is another show and I'll update you. Talk
to the crew, talk to Lowe's, see what you can do about getting a Twitch channel. Hopefully, if there is a Twitch channel set up before the end of the show, you can give that information out because these are the type of things that provide the entertainment for us to get us through this time. So we could use that.
There is a Twitch channel set up. I'll shoot you the link for it, or either just share it through my channel, whichever works better. But yes, there is information for that. I'll relay that, once we get to a stopping point.
All right, there it is. All right, so in our women's managers tournament, we had one person that should have made this list, and considering I lost the tournament, and I had a pretty stellar lineup, but considering I lost the tournament yet again, this person would have been a healthy addition to either side of the bracket. Stephanie McMahon Helmsley, a.k.a. Stephanie McMahon.
To be truthfully honest, if all things are, equal and considered the way they would be, she would be potentially a number 1 pick.
Could be.
She'd have certainly been a top 3 pick.
Yes, I agree with that as well.
She might have been my number 1 pick, and then I would have tried to take Sherry's second, which she wouldn't have been there. It would have changed the entire layout of the draft.
And not for nothing, even if we would have done that's the equivalent of the same thing we did with Ray but Ray deserved to be in the position that he was in for the Cruiserweight Grand Prix Tournament of Champions tournament, whatever the hell we call that damn thing.
Man, hold on. Let me find the correct name so you don't butcher our marketing. Let's see. No, that's the middle management tournament. The BPBC Super Junior Heavyweight Open Invitation Grand Prix Tournament of Champions.
Tournament. Can't forget the tournament on the end. Yeah, sponsored by Snap. Here we go.
Get your back broke.
Get your back broke right now for free. 30-day free trial.
That part. So that's what we were on. We was on that pretty heavy. So yeah, all the good stuff.
All right. Matter of fact, let's just run through all the tournaments real quick since we're talking about them. So, the NXT Cruiserweight or the interim Cruiserweight title tournament, the champion, who's the champion right now?
I thought it was vacated.
No, it was not. It's not vacated. It possibly could be. Hold on one second, because it's a visa issue, and naturally with the situation.
Jordan Devlin. Yeah, Jordan Devlin can't come back from overseas, so it is vacated.
Okay, so there's an interim title tournament, and this is in the same vein as what you would have with the UFC, where if a competitor is injured or can't make weight or can't compete, they have an interim champion until the actual champion can come back. And if the actual
flunks a drug test,
what's that?
Or flunks a drug test.
There's that. And if the champion can't come back, then the interim champion becomes the champion. So here's the rules of the group the rules of the tournament. It's an 8-man 2-group tournament. So 8 superstars will be split into 2 groups of 4. The superstars compete against each other, and the other 3 members of their group. The superstar with the best record in their group will advance to the championship match. Any times will be broken by a head-to-head record. So if just because you lose the first match doesn't mean that you're out. Why is this even a conversation? Funny you should ask. Drake Maverick was listed on our list of WWE competitors that have been or talent that have been released, whether it be for post-Mania season and or COVID-19. That said, we meant to mention him again because he's also in this tournament. He lost his first match to Jake Atlas. Who the fuck is Jake Atlas? We don't know. Never heard of him. That said, he's still in the tournament. So even though he has an 0-1 record, he still has a chance to make it to the finals based on his head-to-head record on the bracket that he's in.
Here's my whole problem with what they've done so far. Drake Maverick went to social media to kind of pour his heart out right after hearing the news of it being cut. And you saw the groundswell of support. He became a sympathetic figure, which is what you want from all your baby faces. You had a story that would have carried you through the summer or however long this tournament is going to last if you would have just rode the Drake Maverick wave. I watched him work on NXT and I'm like, it was like a breath of fresh air. I don't ever remember watching or seeing him work like that. This is one of those situations like when there's pure wrestling going on in the ring, you can start to separate stars from posers without a crowd because you can hear the extra nuances. You see the little things that go into making someone really good inside the ring. However, I feel like if we had treated Drake Maverick's quest to become Cruiserweight champion and save his job similar to, let's say, the summer of Punk, I think you could have had really compelling television. If you have Drake Maverick lose in the finals, it's more dramatic and more emotionally gripping than having him lose in his first match out.
Yeah, the summer of Punk was essentially CM Punk winning the title from John Cena, and within hours of winning the belt, contract expired, and the next day we see the belt in his refrigerator at his home. So he's the champion of WWE. He is the champion and has no contract, has no obligation to work. On the flip side,
now it becomes where the powerless is the powerful. He's gone from not having a job, not knowing where the next check is coming from, to I hold one of your major championships and now you negotiate on my terms.
If he decided to go to American Championship Wrestling in the middle of nowhere and wipe his ass with the belt, he could, because it's his at that point.
And that's the thing, is like, it's unfortunate that there are not a lot of other shows going on, because he could have really milked that. Imagine Drake Maverick showing up in Evolve with the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, or imagine him showing up on a Ring of Honor show with the Cruiserweight Championship, just off doing what he wants to do because he's the champion, which means then someone has to negotiate to get him back. He has to make these title defenses. And if you really want to stretch it out, you continue to give him ways to escape with the belt. Even still, you like, as this was Wednesday was the 22nd, so it was the April the 15th when they were released, correct? I believe it was Wednesday, April the 15th when these releases came down the pipe, correct? As far as I can remember, I don't have that information.
So we'll just say April 15th for the sake of conversation. So that puts the 90-day clause being up July the 14th of this year. So if July 14th is day 90, they have between now and day 90 to either re-sign or allow him to work on a per appearance basis, simply because he's still being paid or quote unquote under contract until that time frame. Everybody who's been released is under contract for 90 days as in accordance to the no compete clause. That's
cool and all. So if you decide to resign, that's great for Drake Maverick and his bank account and his personal finances. What I'm saying is, you could have made compelling television out of this,
and it's still possible. So here's the lineup. Let me give you the groups real quick. In Group A, you have Kushida, Jake Atlas, Drake Maverick, and Tony Nese. Kushida and Jake Atlas are both 1-0. Drake Maverick and Tony Nese are 0-1. On Group B, you have Akira Tozawa, Hijo del Fantasma, Gentleman Jack Gallagher rather, and Isaiah Swerve Scott. Akira Tozawa, Hijo del Fantasma 1-0, and Gentleman Jack and Isaiah Swerve Scott 0-1.
Is this like a multi-loss elimination tournament?
It's a round robin, yes. So it's similar to that of a Grand Prix in like New Japan, which is a beautiful thing. So just because they lost doesn't mean that they're gone.
I don't really care for that.
You may not, but it actually adds to exactly what you're saying. What can happen with Drake Maverick? It's possible.
Fuck that. Fuck that. They didn't do it the way I said it, so shit ain't right. Yeah, I'm not gonna give him no points for that. Like, you don't need to see Drake Maverick lose. Is my point until it matters. The only way this makes sense is if he loses the next round and continues to run honestly, if he can't lose again. If he loses again in the group that he's in, mathematically he's eliminated from the tournament. Mathematically. Now, here's my point. All of this thinking put into an 8-man tournament. Like, you never put this much thought into an 8-man tournament. Your audience is not conditioned for an 8-man tournament like this unless they watch the fucking G1.
G1. Isn't the G1 this way on both sides? Isn't the 8 men on both sides?
You know what? There are a lot of people in the G1, and this shit goes on for
it goes on for a couple 2 months.
Like, it's a lot of stuff that goes on during the G1.
Even the Super Junior tournament goes on for 2 months.
Right. I would have been cool. Go single elimination, and then if you want to do a losers bracket for the number 1 contender, fine. That makes more TV. But all of your tournaments have been formatted a certain way. Your Cruiserweight Classics, your Mae Young Classics, they've all been formatted as single elimination. Keep moving through the ranks. So that's kind of what I expected. I don't necessarily like the whole round robin aspect because you only have 8 people.
Right.
Now, why are we doing that?
On the flip side, funny you should mention an 8-man tournament. Let's look at AEW's 8-man tournament for the AEW TNT Championship.
Single elimination.
Let's run it down because they're already in week 3 of this tournament. Yep. So It started with Cody and Shawn Spears, Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin on one side, Dustin Rhodes and Kip Sabian, and then Lance Archer versus Colt Cabana on the other side. Of those, we already have Cody versus Shawn Spears, where Cody came out on top. You have Dustin Rhodes and Lance Archer and Colt Cabana, where Lance came out on top. And then this week we had Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara, and then Kip Sabian versus Dustin Rhodes.
Which Dustin Rhodes put his career on the line, so I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know if they do that through the entire tournament or that was just a thing for that week.
Honestly, like I really don't know. I really don't know how I feel about that, because age says that Dustin's at the point of his career where he has nothing else to prove, right? But at the same time, how many times are we going to see people put their careers on the line only to see it as a caveat for them to win? Here's the thing about that. Like, we can't necessarily hold the wrongs and the transgressions of WWE TV against AEW. AEW has never done that. This is the first time they've done it. Now, we've seen it done in wrestling, mostly on WWE television. This is their first time doing it on AEW. For a career. This is actually the second time they've had a similar stipulation. The first time came with Cody. Remember when Cody went for the title, the NWA title, the AEW title against the Le Champion, Chris Jericho. You had the stipulation, whereas if he lost the match, he would never challenge for the AEW championship again, and that's where we got the official heel term from Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Right, and that's just for title shots. So, and I expect that at some point to be part of what turns Cody heel. Yes, but I don't think they're going to do it anytime soon. We're talking like 2 or 3, 4, 5 years out from now, minimum. I wouldn't go 5, but maybe. But you could, because Cody's in his early 30s. On the flip side, Dustin's in his early 50s. So right now, with the matches we had this week, we had Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. Darby won. Shouts out to the Petty Messiah that your guy won. And then we also had Lance versus Kip Sabian versus Dustin Rhodes, which you said, like, careers on the line. Sure enough, there's no way Dustin gets eliminated with his career on the line in the first round of a tournament for a TV title. Dustin wins. I mean, it'd be a cool little piece of booking if they did and they had a plan. Here's the thing. Everyone is looking at this tournament bracket and expecting it to end up Cody versus Lance. What if it ends up, okay, Cody's going to make his way to the finals. It's pretty much predetermined. It's earmarked. What happens if Lance gets disqualified when he wrestles Dustin? Dustin and Cody is the final. And then you have Cody responsible for putting Dustin down? No, and then Cody, because he doesn't want Dustin to retire, takes the dive. I would much rather see Dustin versus Darby in that case. And I'm being 100% honest with you, because you have to keep in mind, the TV title doesn't mean that you're the best in line or the next in line for the world title. The TV champion means you're the person that's Mr. Reliable. You are the workhorse. You're on TV every week, no matter what. You're going to put on a 10-minute or 10-minute or less match to showcase how good of a wrestler you are. We got that for 2 years with the Honky Tonk Man. We got that that's with the IC title. We got that with Arn Anderson for almost a year and a half. We got that with Jim Duggan when it didn't matter. We got that with Tully Blanchard was a TV champion for a brief moment. I mean, just look at the long list of NWA TV champions and the purpose of even bringing back a TV championship. Because this is all this is a way for AEW to have a television champion without calling it the TV champion. But you are the champion of a network, the network of which your programming is on. So I don't see Lance Archer being earmarked to win the TV championship. I don't see Cody Rhodes being earmarked to win the TV championship, simply because it's part Cody's company, and Lance And
he's
Lance
the
is,
most over baby face they have. So him carrying a championship is kind of necessary.
Lance is a fucking killer. Let's talk about that. Lance, because bitch, Texas. Lance is a killer and a pencil pusher, and he has a built-in storyline with Jon Moxley.
He does, but they haven't gone into the they haven't
Not
gone
yet.
in that direction yet.
Not yet, but it doesn't. Only thing they need for that to come to fruition is a crowd.
But you got to deal with where he is now. Where he is now is what 3 matches in the AEW in the middle of a tournament where AEW has, or representatives of AEW have expressed that they want big athletic heels in powerful positions. So
and
unless you're going to have some type of a fluke to where Lance Archer doesn't end up in the finals, he's going to be in the finals. Now, whether they crown him champion is a different conversation. It depends on who he's wrestling.
I like your DQ theory because it protects Lance, and it keeps Dustin on TV. That's the only way I want to see Dustin advance in this match is if or in this tournament is if it's by disqualification.
And see, that's your out. That's the one time I would be cool with you using a DQ finish and not having a clean finish. So you have to try to think these things out. Now, if Dustin's just ready to go sit down or go be a coach, that's something else. Even still, same way as I'm saying, like with Drake Maverick, you build more anticipation for what is to come if you allow the story to play itself out. Eliminating Dustin midway through the tournament, that's his bye match. It doesn't make sense. That's not, you're not maximizing your resources. Now, if Dustin loses to Cody in the finals and that's his last match, I can live with that. Or if it's Dustin and Cody, and then somehow Cody has a moment of sympathy for his brother and basically takes a dive or takes his eye off the ball, and Dustin becomes the first TNT champion. Well, you know Dustin's going to be earmarked to put somebody over soon thereafter, probably Lance Archer.
How about this? Your DQ theory just actually picked up a little bit of steam. What did Dustin just do in the last 2 weeks that seemed to be a little bit of a twist? You said coach. What did he do in the last 2 weeks that seemed to be a little bit of a twist on this whole tournament with him putting his career on the line?
I know he was teaming with QT Marshall.
That's it right
What
there.
else?
He formed a tag team with QT Marshall. Why would you form a tag team with someone who is an upstart in AEW in their mid-30s who only for you to pull the rug from underneath him and sit him on the bench because your coach slash tag team partner decides to retire? I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening.
Dustin could end up being a coach and just coaching QT Marshall, but I get your point.
I mean, QT Marshall is still part of the Nightmare Collective. Or the Nightmare Family. The Nightmare Family.
At this point, who isn't a part of the Nightmare Family?
There's that too.
Like, the motherfuckers is deep. Like, if we really gonna keep it 100, like, it's a lot of members. They just don't all come out on TV together, but it's a lot of people in the Nightmare Family.
All right. So we've gotten those. All the tournament talk is out the way. Look at us. We moving at a breakneck speed here. Let's talk about Roman real quick.
One last thing before we move on from the AEW tournament. All extra booking logic aside, who's your pick to win?
Man, after that conversation, it looks like Cody. But as a breakneck, I would love to see Darby win. Cody seems pretty selfless, and Darby could use the push. I would love to see Darby win this tournament.
Darby and Cody are the two most over baby faces you have. Only reason I really lean towards Cody is because when there are press events to make, you want that guy in a suit carrying the belt. You do. However, this ain't the E. Cody's gonna be there regardless. I mean, it ain't, but it's a better look when that guy who runs the company with the suit on and the neck tattoo, he looks as much like the evolution of pro wrestling as anybody else. It's like him and Darby both look like evolution.
Yeah.
But Cody, like, really, I would have Cody holding a belt because I want him to do the explaining. I want him to do the talking.
Yeah, you just explained single-handedly why I would want Darby there. The same rationale you have with Cody's I have with Darby, minus the suit. The fact that he looks like the evolution of pro wrestling. He's not your run-of-the-mill, cookie-cutter, cereal box top wrestler. He is...
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
I heard a really cool comparison. I heard someone compare him to Sting.
That was actually Chris Jericho. Shouts out to Le Champion. Chris Jericho on episode.
He did it too, but it was someone else I heard say it.
Okay, well, no, Cody did it. Cody did it as well. They both said the face paint, the charisma, the lack of words, all these things remind you of Crosting. Yep.
Right. And then the obvious comparisons to Jeff Hardy. So it's like if you confuse those two characters. Or can fuse, not confused. If you can have the ability to fuse those two characters, you've done something right.
Look at you using words over here.
I mean, hey, look.
We're gonna call this episode "Suave Uses Words."
Suave with words. Suave with words, baby. I mean, I do what I can to make sure that the entire audience of the Broken Pencil Booking Company Pro Wrestling Podcast
Infused with hip hop
is constantly edified.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Moving forward, Roman Reigns in WWE probably since the
Wait, can we say his name? Are we allowed?
We can do whatever the fuck we want to do, as evidenced by that F-bomb I just dropped.
I was just checking.
There, that confirms it. Roman Reigns has been the person and the name has been MIA from WWE television for at least 5 weeks. We haven't seen or heard from him before during or before WrestleMania. The last time we saw him on TV was when he came out and challenged Goldberg by basically saying that he was next on Goldberg's shit list. And
there were so many holes in this. It was so wrong. So much went wrong with this.
And from him saying that he was next to disappearing off of WWE TV to Braun Strowman becoming the number one contender / person to defeat Goldberg at WrestleMania, where is Roman? Now, the obvious answer is Roman. Like so many Americans, like so many people in this world, like so many humans, is immunocompromised. There's absolutely no reason to have him on television around people who have obviously tested positive and have defeated coronavirus, whether they were symptomatic or asymptomatic, and with an employer when it's unnecessary.
Protect your neck.
Protect your motherfucking neck. And that said, the thanks that he gets for protecting himself and his neck and his family is being erased from WWE television as a whole.
I mean, you knew who you were dealing with when you signed up for this.
This is something he battled before he came to WWE, something that he battled while he was in WWE, and he is definitely the exception and not the rule. And you did all this to build him over the last 9 years, and one way or the other, only to not mention him. A huge miscarriage of justice is happening with this man right now.
You understand why I say what I say when I say it about the whole shit about you force feeding Roman and making things non-organic, and then because he didn't jump when he didn't say how high when you said jump, now you decided to not mention him at all. Like, This is the same company that shut down operations on a football league, fired all those employees, let go almost 24 employees right after they were declared an essential business that could remain open, and more releases are coming. So I don't think you can look at them and expect, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't think you can expect you just can't expect them to do things in decency and order. Like, they're doing shit. It's all about the bottom line and the dollar.
There's never nor a buzzer or a ringer that's going to be more inappropriate at the same time than this one. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, like they have handled themselves like pure shit. Like it has been bad. It's been rough. Like that series of events, that chain of events from, shutting down XFL, filing for bankruptcy. So you saved some of the money you invested.
We got lawsuits from wrongful terminations in the XFL. Dear Lord, how bad are you handling your business without protecting your employees when you do shit like that? When you have people coming for you because they get let go in a hostile health crisis.
And these are people with money who are coming for you and suing you.
People who if you have no business to sue because you already are taken care of and you sue, there's obviously a glaring problem here.
And that's probably what happened. There was no severance package included. He's just like, we're going to terminate.
And then we're going to file bankruptcy. And then we're going to put the league up for sale.
Right. So we don't have to pay anyone. So we're gonna recoup on this investment. We're gonna cash everybody out probably on their last check, and then nobody gets anything else. When quite honestly, some of those executives had probably severance packages included or different stuff that should have been adhered to, but because of the way they circumvented the law or played with the law, found a loophole, they were able to get out of that. Obviously, people are gonna be upset. But then to backdoor that and then fire 24 people after you've been given the clearance to remain open as an essential business, because it's almost insider trading, but you have a connection on the inside. So Florida just gave you the green light.
There's your protection. You're listed as you get named an essential business, not specifically the XFL. But pro sports as a whole, including professional wrestling from both WWE and AEW. So you get protection there. You're a professional football organization that has a team in Florida. You get protection there. The guy who was the main event of WrestleMania 23, was it? 22?
Who would that be, good sir?
That was with Umaga versus Bobby Lashley.
I think that might have been 23. Let me double check.
23. I'm sorry. So I was close. See, this is why you're the encyclopedia. Lashley versus Umaga, and It was hair versus hair. Mr. McMahon for Umaga, Lashley for our president, Donald Trump.
But I mean, their partnership and their business dealings go all the way back to the 80s, because WrestleMania 4 and 5 was at Trump Plaza, in Atlantic City. So you got back-to-back WrestleManias. They've been kicking it doing lines since the 80s.
Allegedly,
they've been party partners for at least
for three decades. Now the last 4 decades, if you want to be truthful about it.
That part, and then with Linda McMahon as in Senate and a part of different things, you kind of saw that this was coming. Like, if anyone was going to be taken care of, it would be that guy. It's just the fact that he has used this shield, no pun intended, to kind of protect himself financially, but didn't really take care of the people on payroll, especially when you just recently signed some of these people to keep them from going to make money elsewhere. It's a dick move.
So funny you should mention dick moves and the
Shout out to Joey Ryan. Pause.
And the Shield, as New Japan Pro Wrestling during this time has decided to actually pay its wrestlers for these shows that have been missed. We don't know what their situation is over in Japan in terms of like any type of like relief or assistance for businesses, or what's deemed essential, what's not. We just know that they did the right thing by shutting down and canceled shows so that way they can protect their wrestlers. But they're also paying these guys and girls to make sure that they're able to provide for their families and during since they can't do the one thing that provides for their families. I love it.
I mean, that's a really good situation. I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, there's nothing to be upset or you can't even be smarmy about some shit like that. You got to be Just like, okay, New
Savvy.
Japan,
You can't be smart, man. You got to be savvy.
Yeah, you just like, you got to tip the cap on that. Raise a glass, pip, pip, cheerio.
And then from that, we have, I believe it was episode 60. Was it episode 62 of the Broken Pencil Book Company, or was it 63? Which one was we had Seth Rollins on the cover?
63.
63. Okay, so our last episode, or actually our last episode was 64, which is the Women's Manager Tournament, but our last actual BPBC episode that we had.
Available on all streaming platforms.
All streaming platforms.
Get that like, rate, subscribe.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. We had Seth Rollins on the cover, speaking of Shield, and no one, like, the one thing we needed to talk about that, why the building was burning in the background and why we had him on the cover, we didn't talk about. We're going to talk about that shit now because it's fitting. Seth Rollins went on Instagram after WrestleMania and after all of the firings. Seth Rollins made a video on Instagram, and I would play the video, but it's going to be, to me, I don't want to hear his fucking voice. I'd rather read the quote. So here's this quote. The one thing I am seeing that is a little upsetting to me is all the negativity and hostility towards WWE. This is a difficult day for everyone. You dick. All right.
Silence your device then.
You have to keep in mind, I just redid my computer, so like all the alarms and shit are up.
You got all the original presets,
man. So let me.
Now you got to play his voice so people can hear how much of a douche he sounds like.
All right,
he has no compass.
So hold that thought. I will get it queued up right now.
Buddy is tone deaf. He has no understanding of the audience he's speaking to.
I have nothing against atheists, but it goes to show when you act without couth that you have no belief in the higher power.
I won't label this as an atheist thing because I know some air quotes Christians who are tone deaf too. But
I mean, by and large, for sure.
Yeah, I know a bunch of them that are tone deaf. It's just like, bro, do you not know who you're speaking to in this moment? Like, you trying to chastise the masses for being upset about a lot of people losing their job. You can't do that. Like, it's best that you just don't speak right now because you don't have anything interesting or educational to add. If you're going to say anything, just say, I'm sorry, I'm heartbroken over the loss of so many jobs. Cut it off at that. You trying to go live and defend the WWE because you still have a job? That shit's lame.
Courtesy of Seth Rollins' Instagram page. I'm not going to do my due diligence to tell you exactly what it is, but I gave you the courtesy, so here's that.
But one thing I am seeing that is a little upsetting to me is all the negativity and the hostility towards WWE. This is a difficult day for everyone, for all of us. And I think if ever there was a moment for us to unify, for us to kind of band together and to try to do the best we can to keep this business alive the best we know how, this is that moment.
Pause it. So this has to do more. This conversation is stemming from the mass firings and or furloughing and or laying off of employees on April the 15th. This video was taken after the first round of firings was announced. 1 second.
And I think pointing fingers or saying you should have done this, you should have done that is I don't know, it just doesn't feel like the time or the place for it. I think this is a day for compassion and for empathy and for understanding and to try to support each other, to pick each other up. And that's for everybody. That's not just for the guys and girls that let go, but for all of us who are fortunate enough at this moment to still be able to have a position where we can collect a paycheck and we can support those who love us and those around us, I think that we have to take it upon ourselves to, work harder to make sure that there's a place for all those who, again, had it the worst today to come back to. I think as a planet, we can rally around the idea that this is only temporary, and that those who have lost their positions and who are struggling to figure out what to do next, that they'll be able to make it back from this. And whether that's with WWE or with another organization or in a completely new field, this isn't the end. And I think if we start fighting amongst ourselves, it's only going to make things worse. So I just encourage everyone to kind of try to come together over this, to try to unify. And
that's where it cuts off at.
Again, Seth is just not.
I'm sorry. I should have played this during that, and there's a reason why we have this name for him. But let me do this right now.
Kung Fu Panda.
Shame on us, Seth.
Man, bruh. I don't get it. I don't understand the need. I don't understand the need to have to try to further well, no, I do get it, because brown nosing is a culture. So I get it. But I'm like, I want to hear Seth go live the first time he gets future endeavored. I don't wish that on anybody, but I want to hear how much the tone changes.
Let me tell you something. The only person that can ever go live after being future endeavored, after the impact that he had on his and how emotional and how heartfelt it was Drake Maverick. No one else should ever go live after being future endeavored because of how dramatic his was. And it wasn't dramatic in the sense of it was scripted. It was completely unscripted and was completely heartfelt. And it not that I wish any type of mental incapacities on anyone, but it rivaled that of someone who was speaking for the last time. If you get my drift.
Well, here's the thing. When I say go live, yes, Drake Maverick is the most recent, but Dean Ambrose didn't actually go live, but he did a lot of media in a very short span. So yes, either go live to Instagram or Facebook or however you want to speak to the media, or just start doing a bunch of interviews and answering all the questions. Because, a lot of people decide to go radio silent when they first get future endeavored, or they get released, or their contract clears so they can say whatever they want. I just want to hear how Seth's tone towards everything would change if he wasn't employed by WWE anymore. Not that I wish him to get fired, not that I want him cut, not that I want anything bad to happen to anyone, just for my own mental chessboard. I would like to hear how different it is, because you win it. You basically kind of turned your shoulder, not necessarily turned your whole back, but you turned a halfway shoulder turn,
and you looked over it, and you looked over that shoulder.
Right, you looked over that shoulder like, I don't know if I want to fuck with you. Like, you did that with John Moxley when he left, and he made his comments and told his truth about his experience in WWE. So, and then you went to war with the internet wrestling community about their critique of the product. If they're not enjoying it, they're just not enjoying it. Then you took one sign at a pay-per-view that said Seth Rollins is not cool, and you took that shit so personally, it spiraled you out of control.
Man.
How are you this sensitive, but how are you so sensitive yet so tone deaf at the same time? How does that happen? Like, seriously, you're sensitive enough to read the comments on the internet and respond to them because, you got to fight the good fight and carry the WWE shield. yet you're so tone deaf you don't understand why people are upset right now, or why people just kind of feel like, I think I'll back up off of giving WWE so much of my money and or my energy.
Man. And then there's all of that. There's all of that. And there's no end in sight to the level of insensitivities that people in positions of power, or people in better positions than those who are not, will stoop to. And to a degree, I'm guilty of it. But at the same time, I don't gloat at the fact that I'm actually able to go to a 9-to-5 job and still be able to provide for my family. There are people who are not going that are actually able to provide their family that act way worse than I do. And all I do is just go to work. I don't complain about it. I complained about it when there was no plan in place to protect those around us, including the people who I service and those who provide me with a reason to actually go into work. But at the same time, there are people who are out there who are working from home that are actually not even doing any work and still getting paid, and they're the ones that are screaming "nanny nanny boo boo" on social media for 24 hours out the day. And I do mean 24 hours. They're not going to sleep because they have no schedule.
Like, now that shit is lame. If you're in a position to where you're taken care of, or you don't have as many worries as essential frontline workers, and you take to social media to gloat, you are in a special category of fucktard.
There's that.
Like, dead ass. Like, that's karma. You're building karma. That's all. Someone's loading up the karma boomerang for your ass right now. Like, that's just lame.
Man. And while we're on the E and lame things, there are two different topics we can go with. Let's go with the lamer of the two. Let me pull it up here real quick. Courtesy of the good people over at PW Insider, we have information regarding the Velveteen Dream, an online fiasco that happened. It's something that's happened way too much over the last years, simply because of things of like smartphones, cloud services. Like, let me start by saying this: the word hack requires talent.
People use that way too loose. It's like the term genius in music. So we'll use way too much on way too many people who don't meet the requirements.
Man, if you hack something that requires passwords and logins, that's actually hacking. If you can figure out what those are and to access the account. If anybody has the ability to access my account without having any prior or previous information before doing so, that to me that's a hack, and that you deserve everything that you get, because I obviously didn't do a good enough job of protecting myself using strong passwords and strong enough usernames. My username is easy to find out. Password, you won't have a problem with the passwords. I guarantee that. And that's not a challenge, by the way. That's not a challenge, by the way. Let me let that be known up front. To say someone walks into your bedroom and takes your phone and starts figures out your 4-digit PIN number because it's the year that you were born or the month and date combination of your birthday, to go into your Facebook page and start typing things that are true, untrue, indifferent, funny, not funny, insensitive, racist, you name it, that's not hacking. You're just being a hack. Damn, that's loud. Yeah, you're not hacking yet. That's just being a hack. So that being said, if someone has sensitive information, i.e. naked pictures, on a cloud because you have an iPhone or an Android phone with Google services, because let's just be honest, Apple and Google are the same damn devil. They just live in different houses.
Facts.
Just because you have access to this information firsthand doesn't mean that you're hacking shit. So let me give you some context here. This is courtesy of Mike Johnson and PWInsider.com. Earlier today, April 20th, 2020. April 24th, 2020. Earlier today, allegations were made online about NXT star Velveteen Dream having improper communications with fans online, including some explicit photos and an explicit audio clip of Dream. The accuser, who posted an online forum Reddit, claimed they and their friends were communicated by Dream despite them being underage. Dream immediately took to social media this afternoon, denying the claims, writing the following. This is via Dream's Twitter at DreamWWE. Be assured I did not communicate improperly with anyone. A private photo of mine was shared without my consent or knowledge, and I'm working with a third party to look into this matter. That means lawyered the fuck up because you need to.
I'm glad that he handled it quickly, directly, didn't play around with the allegations, didn't try to explain or speak over anyone's head. He just came out, flatly denied it. This is not true. I didn't do this. These are private photos. And there's a third party, which probably, yes, does mean there is a lawyer that has been retained.
And or PIs. Plural. Right. Not one, plural. A team.
Right. Well, he could have said third party. It could just be a whole fucking agency. Like, look, we're the law and the private investigation. We're just going to be a one-stop shop to clean this shit up.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, I get it. Makes perfect sense. That's the way you handle it. There's nothing else he could do. Anything else he says is going to be detrimental. It's like he did. This is the way you handle things. In this climate in 2020, when bad things come up, because it seems like no matter how in pocket you stay, something's going to come up. May not be to this extent, but something's going to come up. And this is how you handle it. You vehemently deny it. You let people know that you say, this is not true. I didn't do this. I'm taking the necessary steps to get it figured out. And then you shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm. Get the fuck out the way.
Hey, Seth, you could probably learn something from this.
What Vince and Larry say, you can learn something from a dummy.
Buckle your safety belt. Make one direct statement and then shut the fuck up. Man. Go radio silent. So to apply this logic to what Seth did, it would be, I'm sad that my heart, or whatever sentiment you want to put on it. I'm sad for the people that were released. I hope they are all able to find work and or be re-signed when things return to normal. Period. Shut the fuck up.
That's it.
Don't say anything else.
Get in, get out. That's it.
That's it. That's it. That's all. If had you done that, it would have helped your equity. There's that word again. It would have helped your equity with the internet wrestling community, or just anyone in general who has a sour taste about you. And then you go on these pseudo intellectual, shallow, hollow ass rants, and it's like, good God, this motherfucker's tone deaf.
This is the rant of an independent business owner who is an independent contractor making 7 figures or better.
That part, you're still an independent contractor. At some point, this was probably the opportunity, if you were going to say anything, was to start speaking on the fact that we may need to unionize to protect ourselves in situations like this.
Or better, shut the fuck up and say nothing.
Hit the damn bell. Hit it.
Less is more.
Shut the fuck up.
If you're going to go to social media, instead of praying hands weighs way more than a 2 minute and 9 second diatribe of bullshit. Like, I understand you think your heart was in the right place, but like I used to use this example in training all the time. I've done training with companies in the past, and I used to use this example all the time. If I walk into a room 8:00 in the morning, and I tell my wife, baby, when I look at you, time stands still, she's going to melt. But if I walk into that same room 8:00 in the evening and say, bitch, you got a face like a stop clock, I'm going to get fired up.
Wait, has she had wine before you said this?
Doesn't matter. Yes or the answer is that
it does. It
Why?
matters. If she's had a little bit of wine and you say that with the right tone, you might have just advanced to the lightning round. But I get your sentiment. I get it.
That's hip hop talking.
You know what I'm saying?
Let it be known, my wife, the lovely Rashonda, I love you, baby. She doesn't take too kindly to being called a biz naive. Let's just be factual, actual on that one.
These are truths. I don't know very many women who take kindly to it at all, but in the proper context with the right tone, it's
ain't no proper context, bitch. You just got called a bitch.
No. Because you can always say there are different ways to get around this. You went to social media on a shoot, and I get it. It's your right. Do whatever you want to. Say whatever you want. This didn't help you. It didn't help you as a person outside of wrestling. It didn't help your character within wrestling. So what the fuck was the point?
My question is, what was it supposed to help? Because like if you analyze what he's saying, it sounded like he felt that he was in the right place to make this statement and felt like his heart was coming from a good place. But typically when you make a statement like that for any situation, the end goal is to help people ensure that it's not as bad as it seems. So what was he expecting? Like, that's obviously these are obvious thoughts. That it's him thinking out loud, and it sounded better in his head than it did, through his lips. What?
That's the danger of social media. Like when you start thinking out loud while the red light is on, you run the risk of doing some stupid shit, especially if you're not well versed or well skilled. If you don't have a filter or you don't communicate well. I mean, okay, for example, did you see the clip of Floyd Mayweather getting caught up with the word pandemic?
No. Oh, don't do this to me like right now. Hold on.
Look, when we finish this, you go look it up. You can put it in the post edit, but just go look that up. Floyd tried to go live and talk to people. We know from experience of prior media situations, that's not always the move. Now, if he's selling a fight or he's doing promo, you really can't out-talk him. He just, he keep rolling because he has one goal.
I see online here, Floyd Mayweather, quote unquote, waved stacks of cash in an Instagram live video saying he'll thrive in a recession caused by the outbreak of coronavirus.
No. That might be the same video, but Floyd basically went live and was talking and trying to speak just candidly from the heart. And
struggled to say the word epidemic.
Yes, it wasn't pandemic, it was epidemic. Well, he was trying to say pandemic, thought he needed to say epidemic, and it turned into a whole bunch of other shit.
Hold on. Here we have live audio. 1 second. Here it goes.
I made smart investments. That's why right now, with this huge with this huge shit that's going on, all this crazy stuff that's going on.
No, he didn't.
That sounds like a condensed version. So you went on social media to cap on people, to tell them I'm doing good because I made solid investments during this epidural. So that type of shit.
You mean during this panoramic?
During this paragraph. During this episode. Baking soda. Shit.
During this epoxy.
During this epilogue.
Epicenter.
Sports Center.
Pan-fried bread. Panera bread.
Pan-seared dumplings.
Oh, man.
Peppa Pig. During this epilepsy.
Epidermis.
During this editorial.
All this shit going on.
And it's pretty ergonomic.
Oh, by the way, I got stacks, bitch.
That part. Like you went on the internet to tell people that you're doing okay because you made investments.
Yo, this dude got
if
one.
You never made an investment. You've made what, $500 million fighting? Like you should be good regardless of whether or not you made good investments or not. If your spending was even remotely in pocket, you'd be cool.
By my calculations, he has $1.3 million in stacks in his hand at the end of this video. My guy, what kind of investments are you making that give you a return of investment of cash?
with them hands?
No, cash.
I'm saying like he bets on himself. Keep the cash.
Oh,
now,
man.
Here's the thing. I don't know exactly what his financial practices are. However, me personally, if I'm him, I'm going to bet on me every time I fight. The proceeds from the fight, stash those in savings, let them draw interest. I'll ball with the money I win betting on me. Take 10% of what you won the last fight, bet on you for the next one. Take that 10% back out of the winnings, put it back in the stash with the rest of the shit and the proceeds from the fight you just won. Ball off the proceeds of gambling. You're in Vegas.
Man.
But that's just me. I don't know who's advising Floyd. Then you got a lot of expenses. People are getting paid. There's cars, there's money, there's clothes, strippers. I mean, there's a lot of shit going on. To be perfectly honest, I do have a formula to write off tipping strippers as a tax refund.
Services rendered, right? For the benefit of services rendered for the benefit of betterment of the business, i.e. me.
I like that one. Here was mine. Mine was, and I think it's probably partially illegal the way I'm going to explain it. But if you go to a strip club and you get $10,000 worth of ones, you take those ones, you tip the strippers, you keep the receipt, because when you get money at a strip club, they will give you a receipt. Keep that receipt. You write it off as a business lunch.
The crowd goes apeshit. Game, fam.
and here's the other part where it might become illegal. You don't have to spend all $10,000.
I'm not hearing this.
You get 10,000 in ones, you pocket 7, throw 3, write the 10 off as a business lunch.
These are things that you've heard, though. These aren't things that you practice. It's just what you heard.
No, I've never. No.
Let's be very clear. Couple more tidbits real quick. Off of the heels of WrestleMania, one of you and I specifically, not so much for the Petty Messiah, but the Boneyard match between AJ Styles and The Undertaker was a quote-unquote cinematic presentation, of which, according to multiple outlets, and I guess there was an interview or conference call, something regarding Vince McMahon, says that he will continue to do these going forward during the COVID-19 crisis. One person who I felt was heavily involved in this, just based off the presentation and his track record, was Jeremy Borash, formerly of TNA Impact fame, now backstage, and was heavily involved in the Ultimate Deletion with Matt Hardy, and not so much sure that anybody of TNA Impact was involved with the what was the match that Bray Wyatt did with Randy Orton?
The what was it called? Damn it, I don't remember.
Be the first caller right now.
I struck it from my memory.
Hold on, I can find out real quick here.
Google it. House of Horrors.
House of Horrors. That's it. It was at Payback. It was a House of Horrors match, and of course that went over flatly. Like there was no response whatsoever for that one. However, the Ultimate Deletion that was on Monday Night Raw went over as well or better than any of the deletion projects that were happening on Impact.
Well, here's the thing that's kind of cool about it. Like if you had done House of Horrors strictly cinematic and you didn't try to have the finish take place in the ring, it probably would have gotten better. It'd have gotten better feedback. You'd have got better, critiques on it, because I mean, I feel like that concept absolutely can work now. It's the fact that you tried to drive, you took to fight outdoors. So you took the fight outdoors when it's dark, and the place where you are, it's still daytime.
How about this though? Here's the I don't know. I guess it would be like the competition aspect of it. Matt Hardy now with AEW, along with Vanguard 1 2.0, who's doing great work, by the way, as a fucking drone. Vanguard 1 2.0, Matt Hardy, they're going to be involved in the Elite Deletion. The Elite Deletion on AEW sometime in the very near future. I'm sure it's going to be a cinematic presentation thereof in the same vein of what happened on Impact, more so than WWE. And Jeremy Borash and Matt Hardy are friends, even though Jeremy Borash works in WWE. I'm not accusing this man of doing anything wrong, but come on, man. Jeremy Borash is going to be involved in this somehow, some way. If nothing else, he'll be in the building. He'll be on the Hardy compound during this one. Same thing with Matt. I'm sorry. Same thing with Jeff.
Like, you think Borash is going to be there?
Be there? Yes. Actually be involved? That remains to be seen. But there? Come on. Why would... That
is very risky. That's very risky dice shooting in this particular climate. Like, you're a contracted employee of WWE. You're going to take the chance of someone stooging you out because you decided to go watch Ultimate Deletion? I
mean...
because of who your boss is. You know who's signing the checks. If word gets back you were there in any capacity, you could go with tape on your mouth and not say one word. But the fact if you were there, someone's going to turn it into, well, he was there and he was helping produce.
Yeah, you're right. I still think somehow, some way he still has a hand in this. I just don't know to what degree, even if it's a phone call.
Stay your ass at home and flatten the curve because the next time just don't do it. Reconsider. Read some litter.
Sure.
The subject. You sure?
Fuck it.
That's exactly what you're gonna do with your paycheck if you go over there playing with them people.
So
sit down somewhere.
So what do you think is next up then? Like if the E is gonna start doing more of these, what do you think is next up? I understand it's a progression of keeping things entertained during this time. You got to do something different. Even if it is biting, you're not going to be able to do it better, but you have more money behind it. So what do you think is going to, like, who stands to benefit for something like this? Do you think we see that with Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman going forward? Or like who can be involved in this and actually turn this into something worth watching?
So here's the thing. It's gonna be polarizing because you're always gonna have the people that just don't like cinematic presentation, like it hadn't been going on in Lucha Underground forever. Like Matt Hardy hasn't been doing this forever. They act like it's a new thing because of the Boneyard match at Firefly Funhouse. Okay. I don't mind it. I'm cool with it. I like it. It's something different. It can get bastardized if not handled properly. I feel like it should apply to someone's story. Like, unless you're going to have like a technical Mac classic go on between two people, which I think that would be really cool. If it doesn't have a story to it, if it doesn't have a background story or a backdrop that makes its cinematic presentation necessary, I don't think you do it. With that said, because they're doing fucking Money in the Bank at Stamford headquarters, I would expect that to be cinematic.
Funny you should mention that. So this is what I'm getting right now. On SmackDown last Friday the 17th, it was announced that there was going to be 2 Money in the Bank matches, right? And they would both take place at the WWE global headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut.
So there's a men's and a women's?
Yes. The gimmick is going to be the corporate ladder match, which we thought was a fucking joke when we saw the meme or saw the graphic. But apparently, this is all real. It's a corporate ladder gimmick, and the participants must travel from the ground floor of the building to the roof of the building to locate the briefcase, which is to be suspended above a ring on the roof. there's so many things that can go wrong with this.
Is the whole pay-per-view going to be wrestled in the ring on top of the roof?
No, the match starts on the ground floor.
No. Not just the Money in the Bank match. I mean, if you're going to put a ring on top of Stamford WWE headquarters, is the whole pay-per-view going to take place from up there?
I don't know, and I really would hope not, because of a couple of reasons. Depending on how tall that building is, the air could be like, I don't think it's that big, but just the wind alone can actually cause some really bad things to happen if aerial moves are performed.
Here's the thing. If you're putting a ring on top of the roof and then you're going to put a ladder in that ring and try to have a briefcase hanging from some sort of structure on top of that roof, you don't give a fuck about any of the people that are involved in this match anyway.
Obviously.
That shouldn't be a reason to stop anything. That means the whole pay-per-view should take place on the roof like the intro to Raw in 93.
Well done, sir.
Dead. Period. Because I'm like, so many things come to mind. Like, how do you hang the actual... What do you hang the briefcase from?
That's my number one question. You can't put a crane on the roof of a damn building, so how do you get the belt to hang above the ring without something being suspended? Like, what are you going to do? Put a truss on the outer perimeter of the ring and have that truss be 10 feet above?
Like an Ultimate X match. They'll put a truss outside the ring and then hang it from in the middle.
Man,
it'll be like Ultimate X.
I'm good on that.
I mean, everybody's good on that. I would have been cool. Like, you only have to have it be a ladder. You just put the briefcase in Vince's office.
Yeah, you literally climb the corporate ladder. You go through the building, you go through every floor, and you try to find this thing, and it's somewhere on the top, but you don't know exactly where. Even if it is in Vince's office, that's tongue-in-cheek sophomore behavior that will be expected and appreciated.
Exactly. The inside joke. You put the inside joke in it for the people who are smart enough to get a rise out of that.
Those in the cheap seats.
That part. The people who buy the tickets in the cheap seats and the people on the front row are the ones that are most savvy about the product.
Man.
So if you were to put the briefcase, the Money in the Bank briefcase is in Vince's office. That's irony. That's funny enough. And like, it's almost like you're doing a game of Clue.
It's such good shit.
But there's fighting involved. If you're going to be cinematic, you basically need to make this into a movie. Because just walking through the halls fighting is going to look like the fucking Super Bowl commercial from 98.
Which all that was just them fighting through the halls.
That's all it is. That's all it's going to be. And, that may or may not be entertaining, but you're really taking a chance. So why not put the extra effort in and create a story? But then again, they're not paying me. So then there's that.
Not yet.
Well, hell, at this rate, I don't know. I don't know. Shit, that money ain't guaranteed. Because hell, now we can speak candidly about shit. Before I had, with the whole XFL social media position, like that turned out not to be as fruitful as we once thought.
I mean, for a number of reasons, but
for a number of reasons, like the season didn't even complete. So I don't know how those people were paid, because none of my connects or none of the people that I know that work in the industry got that job. So it's like, kind of dodged a bullet with that.
Right.
So, and then you don't really know what's going on with the hiring and firing process in WWE. It might be another year before you have some sense of what normalcy looks like, because I think they're going to be consistently changing their business model.
Yeah. And I mean, and whatever normal ends up being, it's not going to be what we knew it to be 3 months ago, or even 6 weeks ago, for that matter.
That part.
So yeah, we'll hold our heads and hope that something better comes out of all this. And and by the way, not to get on the political high horse here, but local, state, and government officials, please use your fucking heads. This whole reopening shit that affects the black community more than affects the Caucasian or the community of those of others around us. Stop that shit. We know what the fuck you're doing. Like, just let's just hope we have enough good sense to stay the fuck in the house, because it's not over. It's just beginning. And unless we do our part to stay in the house and flatten the curve, I don't care how bored we are. Boredom is way better than death. I can guarantee you that. I don't think Fred the Godson would have a problem with having one more day on this planet. And speaking of COVID-19, get well soon to fellow Texan Brad Jordan, aka Scarface, who was dealing with had a battle of COVID-19 and is now experiencing some kidney failure due to complications from COVID-19. We wish you a speedy recovery, Jordan, or Face, and we want you back out in these streets telling people to go fuck off. That's it. All right. Carrollton, Georgia had a couple of high school students that decided to go to TikTok and make a video to show people how to make a derogatory term into a person using elements of disgrace.
Tell you what, we'll just flatten the curve on the whole explanation of that. Two people got on the internet, did racist shit for a laugh, and thought everybody would be okay with it.
What does that have to do with the Broken Pencil Booking Company Pro Wrestling Podcast infused with hip hop, sir?
One of them was a aspiring wrestler.
A guy who was signed, and we won't even do the due diligence of giving this man's name out, but a guy who was signed to two independent promotions in the Georgia area was a high school student at Carrollton High School in Carrollton, Georgia. He and a female companion decided that they wanted to take to social media to do some extremely racist shit and think that it's going to be okay. To which they not only got expelled, but the performer, the wrestler, has now been terminated from all contracts and appearances thereof. This particular these particular companies.
Probably for your own good, famo.
By what stretch of your imagination did you think it would be okay for you to do something so heinous to try to tell somebody how to make a certain type of individual based on what you think that person is capable of being, or the things that are stereotyped for that person to be made from in real life?
It seems as though people are tone deaf everywhere. Like I said before, there are a lot of people who are fucking tone deaf. There are a lot of people who just aren't very bright. You felt like you were performing for an audience of just your peers. That's not how that happens when you're on social media. That's not how it goes on the internet. Anything you remember, you seen Anchorman, the movie that sparked my namesake. Anything you put on the teleprompter, Burgundy will read.
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego. Anything you put on the internet, people will watch at some point. So if you decided, because you've gone stir crazy in the 2 weeks you've actually stayed in the house during Corona Mania, I mean, like, nah, come on, bruh.
Yeah, that was pretty. Not only was it low brow, but the fact that someone had to bring light to this, because these people both had followers. And it took one person to put this out there for it to become a story.
It took one person, well, they'll refer to them as a whistleblower because that's the new term. But you had one person with a conscience who said, nah, this shit happens too much. It's not cool. I'm tired of seeing it.
Yeah.
And now I want something done. So that individual said, you know what? I'm not going for this anymore. I'm going to say something. It caught legs. The internet ran off with it, because now, with everyone pretty much on summer vacation, everyone has more time to be on social media.
Hey,
that's kind of a good thing, kind of a bad thing.
The term "I got time" took a whole new meaning during all this.
Just stupid.
Just bottom line, dead ass stupid.
But at the same time, I mean, hey, two less. Shout out to New Jack. Two less to worry about.
Speaking of New Jack, we're hoping to have him on to explain another situation that he's dealing with online. Something that he's bringing light to that is growing a life of its own for all the wrong reasons, but at the same time, this is the type of person that does not. Now I'm not referring to New Jack. The type of person that we're referring to is not the type of person that deserves any type of accolades. So we're hoping to have New Jack on in the very near future to kind of explain his stance on a certain type of individual. And knowing New Jack, he's going to name names. We ain't going to do that right now, but we ain't New Jack either. So there's that.
We'll let the anticipation, let the beat build.
Yes, and we also, not to mention, moment of transparency, hope to have Lance Archer on here very soon as well. Don't know what the situation, his contractual situation is looking like, to see if that's possible. But either way, still a pencil pusher in our hearts, because he was the very first interview we ever had, and he's
Max.
And he's because bitch Texas. nothing is better than that. Ending the show off on a high note. After 25 years, we have seen the career of one Triple H in WWE come to a celebration on SmackDown yesterday. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it for you. This is one of those things that you actually need to go to the WWE Network or to your on-demand provider and look at Fox's SmackDown episode from April the 24th. It's so worth it, just because of the memories. And for if you don't watch anything but the last 20 minutes of the show, you need to watch Triple H's interaction in the ring with Shawn Michaels. It's as real as it gets for this business.
Yeah, I got to go back and watch it, because I had a prior engagement that took me away from SmackDown. I tried to watch it all last night, and I think I missed basically the last segment. So once this is over, I'm gonna go back and take a look at it.
Yeah, so I have no doubt that anybody who was ever a fan of Triple H or a fan of nostalgia would not get either misty-eyed or find a moment of glee in some of the things that came up and some of the surprises that happened. I mean, it's very rare that you can find a surprise in an environment where you can't have anybody there because of social distancing, but the surprises started literally from the moment he tried to hop in the ring, and they didn't end until the credits rolled. So go out of your way to watch SmackDown from April 24th and then watch the last 20 minutes. And then on the WWE Network, I'm sure you're going to find a ton of Triple H material on there over the last 25 years. And no matter how you feel about that man's body of work, because I'm a naysayer when it comes to Triple H, I think that up to a certain point that he didn't deserve the accolades that he got. But when you look at it now at 25 years, yeah, he deserves everything. Every ounce of credit that was given to him over the years, he deserved that. So there's that. Suave, anything else you got for us?
I don't think so. I think we've got our fill of vocabulary words. And we've got vocabulary words, news notes, scandal, and a dash of racism. So I think we've done everything we need to feed the people, feed the streets.
All right, we got a couple more pieces of loose broken pencil content coming in the next few weeks. We can't have a women's managers tournament without having a men managers tournament, and then also just confirmed. No name for it yet, but you better believe it's going to be a spectacular. The Broken Pencil BC World Tag Team Tournament for the greatest tag team of all time.
Yes, that's going to be a major blowout episode, because the draft pool is still pending.
We don't know. Like, ideally, I would like to have 64. This could possibly be a 128 team tournament. This could possibly be a 2-part episode.
If you tell me it's 128, I'm absolutely certain we're going to make it, because I am.
There's no question. I can give you 100 off the top of my head, and I haven't even looked at. We haven't even collaborated on the list yet.
Yeah, when I send you the list, you're gonna.
So there's going to be
ones that come off the top of your head. I probably already listed.
There's going to be criteria involved here with the with what constitutes a tag team, and of course
you need to have a team name. How about that? That's number one.
And then the greatness of the tag team. Because off the top of my head, I can tell you this, like, if without even going into any type of like shtick about the teams, the Final Four, Road Warriors, the fucking Dudley Boys, the fucking Harlem Heat, and you can either draw Midnight Express or Rock and Roll Express for number 4 spot. You can pick your Final Four. And I'm just saying that's off the top of my head for 4. But there are teams that could possibly knock out these teams depending on where they land in the tournament. How will you find out? Tune in. It's the only way.
Because from the 4 you just named, I'm pretty sure my number 1 seed would be in the Final Four and knock those guys, at least 1 or 2 of those teams off.
And I can tell you from that statement, I know who that team is. I'm not going to tell you, but I know who that team is.
Tune in next time.
one of these days, we'll have that with you. Y'all, people, stay safe. Stay your ass in the house. There's a lot of entertainment. There's a lot of entertainment on Instagram with these DJs. Shouts out to Lord Finesse, DITC, platinum producer of the Chronic 2001 album. Well, he was one of the producers on that album. Well, also of the Dig It in the Crates crew that includes Fat Joe, Big L, Diamond D, Showbiz and AG, Buck Wild. I mean, he's doing the most on Instagram. Again, Lord Finesse, DITC. Shouts out to my partner in crime with the Gold Mine, DJ Dark Fader. I'm bringing the Gold Mine back. Follow me at Danger1, DANJAHONE, at Suave Burgundy, at Suave for Mayor. Excuse me, Suave the number 4, Mayor. All traditional spellings on that. I will be on Facebook Live on Sundays. I don't know if I pick another day out the week, but definitely Sunday evenings. I usually do some brass knuckle rap. You might occasionally catch me on Instagram Live. Mixcloud Live is definitely going to be the movement going forward. We haven't decided on Periscope or not, but either way, until we get back to what a sense of normalcy is going to be, we're going to be more present and more visible in these social media streets here. So just letting you know, D Nice is out here. Jazzy Jeff is out here doing great things. DJ Menace is doing great things.
Shout out to DJ Menace.
Yeah, man. He had a kick-ass day, or an ass-kicked day of chemotherapy yesterday. And as we're recording right now, he's live on Instagram doing 4 hours of a DJ set. So that just shows you the level of what this whole situation is doing to people in their best and worst of times. So get involved, find somebody, and just sit your ass at the house. Suave, take us there.
Pencil pushers. Heads up, pencils down.
Still the worst fucking podcast we've ever done in our lives, ever.
Of all time. Do you hear me?
The GOAT of the worst.